podcast is edited and produced by Buford Digital Productions. Visit their website to see what they can do for you for today.
The wandering path. The wandering
Welcome to the Wandering Path podcast, a sanctuary for the modern seeker and a dedicated practitioner. Here we believe that magic isn't just found at the destination, it's woven into every step of the journey. Whether you're here for the wisdom of tarot, the pull of the moon, or the whispers of the stars, you found your seat at the table. I'm your host, Adonis Youngblood, and today we're stepping back onto the path to explore what it truly means to live a life of magic. The time will come when, with elation, you will greet yourself arriving at your own door, in your own mirror, and each will smile at each other's welcome and say, "Sit here, eat." You will love again the stranger who was yourself. Give wine, give bread, give back your heart to itself, to the stranger who has loved you all your life, whom you ignore for another, who knows your heart. Take down the love letters from the bookshelf, the photographs and desperate notes. Peel at your own image from the mirror. Sit, feast on your life. This is a poem by Derek Walcott, Love After Love. When I read this poem or when I heard it the first time, it made me instantly think of the three selves, the higher, middle, and lower self. And what a great way to enter this podcast with this beautiful, loving poem for yourself. It's really something that you can think about and that you can sit with and really try to understand the different parts of your life that creates the one unit, the three in one, higher, middle, and lower self. So, in this podcast, we will be exploring the different ways that all three of these work together to form the three in one. This is you at your deepest and most unconscious and subconscious mind and thinking methods. We begin with what the higher self really is. The concept of the higher self shows up across various spiritual traditions, modern psychology, and physiological frameworks. At its core, it refers to internal, omniscient, and unconscious part of a person that transcends the everyday ego, physical body, and the immediate personality. Instead of viewing it as a separate entity floating above you, many traditions describe it as your truest self, the version of you that is unburdened by fear, societal conditioning, and survival instincts. Exploring the different fields and how they view the higher self. In spiritual and metaphysical perspectives, in many spiritual philosophies, the higher self is considered your direct link to the divine or the universe. The witness, it is the part of you that conscious that observes your thoughts and emotions without getting swept up in them. While your ego might panic over a stressful situation, your higher self remains calm, seeing the bigger picture. Source of intuition, that sudden flash of deep insight, a strong gut feeling, or a sense of knowing that defies logic is often attributed to the higher self communicating with the conscious mind. The sparks and the flame. It is often viewed as the individual source expression of a universal consciousness. In psychological and philosophical perspectives, you don't have to look at it through a metaphysical lens to find the value and the concept. Modern psychology has its own versions of the higher self. In Carl Jung's The Self, renowned physicist Carl Jung differentiated between the ego, the center of the conscious awareness, and the self, the archetype of wholeness that encompasses both the conscious and unconscious mind. Achieving enlightenment with the self is the ultimate goal of the physiological growth. The internal family system, IVS. In this contemporary theoretical model, it is referred to as simply as the self. IVS possesses the beneath all the defense mechanisms, anxieties, and emotional wounds lies an undamaged core characterized by the 8 C's: calmness, curiosity, compassion, confidence, creativity, clarity, connectiveness, and courage. Core distinctions: ego versus the higher self. To understand the higher self, it helps to contrast it with the ego, as they often pull you in different directions. With the primary drive of the ego, it is for survival, separation of fear of lack. And for the higher self, it is growth, connection, and abundance. The orientation for the ego is preoccupied with past regrets or future anxieties. The higher self is rooted firmly in the present moment. The identity. Ego is tied to titles, positions, and how others perceive you, whereas the higher self is tied to instinct, worth, and internal truth. The voice. The ego is loud, demanding, urgent, and often critical, where the higher self is quiet, steady, patient, and compassionate. A simple analogy. Think of a stormy ocean. The waves are crashing on the surface, constantly changing, influenced by the wind, and sometimes chaotic, representing the ego and its daily emotions. The deep, still, undisturbed waters under hundreds of meters or feet below represents the higher self. The storm doesn't change the nature of the deep ocean, it just temporarily obscures it. That is the first thing that really stands out from the higher self is it is in constant, not a constant battle, but in coexistence with the ego. Both need each other in both equal ways, that it's sometimes harder to differentiate between the two positions that we are placed in a constant, um, what's the word, constant challenges of our lives. What is your middle self? Where the higher self represents the transcendent, wise, and spiritual core, the lower self typically represents the subconscious. But now I'm getting ahead of myself. The middle self is the bridge between the higher self and the lower self. In frameworks that use the terminology, the middle self is the everyday waking consciousness. It is the you that is hearing these words right now, making conscious decisions, balancing your budget, and navigating the physical world. The role and the responsibility of the middle self. In these traditions, the middle self has a very specific job description. It isn't meant to dominate the other selves, nor is it meant to be passive. It acts as a director or a project manager of your psyche. The power of free will. The middle self is the only part of you that possesses free will and rational choices. The lower self runs on programming, and the higher self respects your autonomy. Therefore, the middle self must choose to initiate growth. The communicator. The higher self rarely communicates directly with the middle self. Instead, energy is and insight usually flow from the higher self through the subconscious lower self and finally into your waking awareness as a gut feeling, a vivid dream, symbol, or a sudden flash of inspiration. The middle self's trap. The biggest pitfall for the middle self is getting caught up in ego. When the conscious mind believes it is the only thing that exists, it cuts itself off from the deep emotional power of the subconscious and the quiet wisdom of the superconsciousness, leading to stress, burnout, and feeling of being lost. Using an office analogy with the middle self, imagine a company where the lower self is the hard-working production crew, managing the physical machinery and day-to-day energy, and the higher self is the visionary CEO who sees the long-term strategy and ultimate purpose. The middle self is the manager. It doesn't run the heavy machinery and it didn't invent the company's grand vision, but is the internally responsible for listening to the CEO, coordinating with the crew, and making the practical decisions to execute the plan. And in this case, it's the ultimate plan, which is where your life is heading. That is where Crossroads plays such a huge role. It's your middle self that chooses going forward, left or right, but it rarely chooses to go backwards. That is where the magic comes in with the bridge that is formed by the middle self. Connecting all of it now in the lower self. To complete the trilogy, the lower self is the foundation of your psychological and spiritual house. Where the name can sometimes sound negative, it doesn't mean inferior or bad. Instead, think of lower in the archetypical sense, like a foundation, the roots of a tree, or the deep subconscious. The lower self represents your instincts, bodily awareness, emotions, habits, and memory storehouse. It is the seat of subconscious mind, just like the higher self is your connection to the divine or the superconscious. The lower self is your vital connection to the earth, your physical body, and nature. Core characteristics of the lower self. In systems like HUNA, esoteric philosophy, and analytical psychology, the lower self has a very distinct traits. The seat of memory and emotion, the lower self forgets nothing. It stores every sensory expression, childhood emotional pattern, and a habit you have ever formed. When you feel a sudden, unexplained wave of anxiety or nostalgia, that is the lower self activating a stored memory. The engine of life force, or mana. It manages all the involuntary functions of your physical body: breathing, digestion, immune responses, and cellular repair. It also generates the raw emotional and physical energy, mana or life force. That is the middle self uses to take action. Deductive, not inductive. The lower self cannot reason logically or question assumptions. It accepts whatever the middle self, the conscious mind, constantly tells it or feeds it through repetition. If you constantly think, I am bad at public speaking, the lower self accepts this as an absolute rule of reality and generates a stage fright to protect you. Highly symbolic. It doesn't communicate in abstract spoken language. It speaks in feelings, physical sensations, and dreams and symbols. So, the lower self is basically when you talk to the person in a mirror and you convince this person in a mirror that you are a good person. And it's a daily mantra that you practice each and every single day or on a regular basis. There is a truth behind it because what your middle self tells your lower self, that is the absolute reality that it works with. So, this is an inspiration for you to have a daily mantra that you tell to the person in the mirror. It's this: I am loved, I am understood, my feelings are and emotions are valid. This is the mantra that I personally wake up with every single day. And sooner or later, you will start to believe it because this is what the absolute reality is being fed to the lower self. Now, in all the connection part of the higher, middle, and lower self, what binds all of this together? This is you. How they work as one. The term is mostly prominently used in Huna, a modernized system of Hawaiian spiritual philosophy popularized in the 20th century, and certain branches of esoteric psychology. This free self framework. To understand the middle self, it helps to see how it functions alongside the other two layers of consciousness. The lower self is the subconscious, the storehouse of memories, emotions, bodily functions, and habits. It doesn't reason logically, it feels and reacts. It is often symbolized as a child or a faithful companion that needs care and clear direction. The middle self, the conscious mind, is the rational reasoning intellect. This is your willpower, your ability to analyze, and the capacity to choose between right and wrong. It has the unique ability to look at the past, plan for the future, and direct focus. The higher self, or the superconscious, the source of divine wisdom, inspirational and universal connection. It sees the grander blueprint of your life. The symbiotic relationship. A helpful way to understand the dynamic between the three selves is to look at the middle self. The conscious explorer must relate to the lower self to access the higher self. Higher self is the wise visionary guides with the overachieving purpose in inspiration. Middle self is the conscious driver, directs attention, makes choices, and uses logic. Lower self, the faithful companion or the inner child, holds the energy, memories, and somatic felt. Using another analogy in this episode is the rider and the horse. Imagine a rider, the middle self, traveling on a powerful horse, the lower self. The rider decides the destination, reads the map, and navigates. But the rider cannot carry themselves across the landscape. They completely depend on the horse's strength, health, and energy to get to their destination. The bigger picture, the blueprint of your life. If the rider mistreats the horse, ignores its fatigue, or screams at it, the horse will eventually rebel, throw the rider off, or refuse to move. Spiritual and psychological alignment happens when the rider learns to listen to and care for and work with the horse instead of against it. The pitfall: suppression versus integration. When people focus on spiritual growth or the intellectual achievement, they often try to suppress the lower self, viewing its raw desires, anger, or fears as obstacles. However, blocking out the lower self cuts off your supply of fertility, leading to depression, emotional numbness, or sudden shadow outbursts. True integration means the middle self acts as a loving, clear guardian to the lower self, teaching it new habits and organizing its emotional storehouse, which naturally clears the channel to achieve the subtle guidance of the higher self. Now, again, my mind goes back to the poem that we've opened up with in this episode. The time will come when, with elation, you will greet yourself arriving at your own door in your own mirror, and each will smile at each other's welcome. and say, "Sit here, eat." You will love again the stranger who was yourself. Give wine, give bread. Give back your heart to itself, to the stranger who has loved you all your life, whom you ignored for another, who knows you by heart. Take down the love letters from the bookshelf, the photographs, the desperate notes. Peel your own image from the mirror. Sit, feast on your life. This is a beautiful end to this beautiful episode that we are free in one. All of us are free in one. If you have come to this section of the podcast, thank you very much for listening to this. I appreciate everyone who has been following, liking, and I think commenting on my podcast on so many different platforms. I am internally thankful for all of you who are taking the time to listen to me rambling on so many different things of the self. And thank you for sharing this podcast for the people who also needs to hear the different parts of life and the universe and the wisdom that I am trying to share with us all. This podcast is presented and edited by Buford Digital Productions. I hope you enjoyed listening to this podcast and thank you for taking the time. And as always, have a wonderful and a blessed day.